What is up, everybody? Welcome to Theory Unlocked, episode 21. This is the Gamerz Theory podcast. As always, I'm Drew Bosley. Joining alongside me is none other than Michael Fisher. Fish, what is happening, dude? How you been, man?
Oh, I've been pretty good. I've been gaming quite a bit recently over the weekend. Excited to talk about it, and I think we got a good show today, Drew. So it should be a fun one.
Yeah, we had a last-minute idea change for topic of the show, and Michael gets credit for this one because it is a fantastic topic. It's the remasters versus new, and we're going to dive deep into this discussion. I love the idea of what's going on, but before we get to that, you can always support us over here at the Gamerz Theory Dude, I was going to go .com. I was going to go to the website first. Let's do that. TheGamerzTheory.com. If you're not there, check out thegamerstheory.substack.com. This is where we're live each and every week. You can check us out here. Join in the conversation. Be a part of that. You can always help support us. Hit the sub button when you find us on YouTube, Spotify. We're all over the freaking place. So, yeah, come help support a small independent team. And, Michael, let's get into the rundown of what's happening today. As always, we have news we'll be talking about. We're going to get into what we're playing. As I just mentioned off the top of the show, we're going to get into topic of the show, remaster versus new. And then as we ended off each and every week, we're going to get into the indie spotlight with 2 indie hits for you to check out, kind of keep an eye on. I've got one. Michael, I don't see yours there, and I'm okay with that. We'll leave that as is, as a nice little surprise. Mine's a new game. Is yours new or something you've been playing?
Mine is coming out soon.
Okay.
I heard about it over the weekend, and as soon as I typed it in, there's already everybody's hitting it, right? Everybody's trying to get the latest friend slop, so I'll give you all the details on the newest friend slop coming out soon this year.
All right, I'm just going to do this first. Perfect. Awesome. Dude, that's cool. Very cool. Very cool. I want to get into it. News. Assassin's Creed Hexi has been leaked as far as a 2027 release. It is definitely the darkest in the series. Mm-hmm. This is coming off of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, now getting into next year's, and then what we had 2 years ago, I guess, would be Shadows, right? So There's been a lot happening on Ubisoft front when it comes to Assassin's Creed. At one point, there was an exhaustion of yearly releases. We had a 2-year break. We get a remaster, and then now talking about next year's darkest female protagonist coming in for their darkest story ever that they've encountered. Very curious to see about that. Yeah, this is according to well-known leaker Rogue. You can check out, they're over on X is where we found their article and their coverage. They kind of deep dive into a bunch of things. I like the idea of we're heading into somewhere where they haven't explored yet. It's a nice, fresh approach for Assassin's Creed. And one I'm very curious about to see how this pays off. There's been rumors as well of a homage to Ezio in the series with the well-known protagonist from way back, starting with like 2 and then Brotherhood and then Revelations. We get into all that. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on in the world of Assassin's Creed. There's a lot happening in the world of Assassin's Creed right now for sure. And what I'm excited for it. But will it come out in 2027 is the biggest question. There are rumors that it is going to happen, but the potential to be delayed into 2028 as well. No big surprise there, Michael, is there?
No, not at all. I think, right, a lot of the times, especially because we're getting closer to that next generation, I think it is a little weird if you're one of those games. It's like, well, Xbox, Sony, work with us, right? Like, do we hold and try and update, to get on that newest console? Do we release it, right? So I think that's one of those, especially if you're Ubisoft or any of those games that have that 2027, 2028 window. It's like, what do you do, right? Or maybe you say, okay, we're going to release it now, and then we'll re-release it on those new consoles, get that double release window. I think the other interesting one is, and I think it's supposed to come out this year, is what is Amsterdam 1666, which gave off big Assassin's Creed vibes. It even has the cat that was supposed to be heavily prominent in Hexi, kind of featured. I think that's supposed to come out this year, but I'd be curious how Ubisoft wants to play around that, because, again, that gave off big Assassin's Creed vibe. When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is Hexi, and I was like, oh, wait, it's not. So curious to see if that has any sort of impact on when they release it, either release it right next to it and kind of in your face, or like, all right, we're going to give you guys some breathing room because one of these games is going to do well, and you would hate to be Ubisoft if Assassin's Creed is the one that doesn't win.
Well, absolutely. And I think Assassin's Creed has such a following that I don't think they really have that much to worry about.
It's the one where if it's like this game is like, oh, this game does what Assassin's Creed should be or something, right? That's what you're really worried about, is like if one content creator basically is like, wait, this is what I want Assassin's Creed to be, and then everyone kind of moves over.
Yeah, this is the Panache Studio. So it was one of the original creators who worked on Assassin's Creed, went out, formed his own studio. He launched with Ancestors. He actually played as an ape back in the day when he launched that game. And now we're into this, which, yeah, does give you the vibes of Hexy, right? So I'm very curious to see how the two kind of blend or coincide with each other. Or does Ubisoft just hold back? And we're supposed to get the prelude. I think I actually jumped into a 30-minute demo of 1666 Amsterdam. And it was pretty cool. Definitely not polished when I jumped in. It was pretty rough around the edges, but there's potential to see where this goes in the future and if they can pull it all together. But yeah, I don't know. I was impressed to see it. I'm curious to see how it lands, but I don't know when it comes to Hexy. Do we get it next year, Michael? Like, do they, or do we wait 2 years still?
It's we're a broken record at this point, Drew, but I really think a lot of it comes down to GTA, right? I know it's coming this year on console, but it's coming, at least based off of previous GTAs, next year on PC, right? And I still think that's a release you have to be very scared of, because that PC release is going to dominate the news cycle. So I think that is kind of, I think the wild card still is like, when is this game's window versus GTA 6 PC launch, right? Because again, I think PC launch is going to work. We're going to see the exact same thing next year that we're seeing this year. Everyone is going to vacate the month before GTA 6 PC launches. They're just like, we can't compete with this. So I think that's something to keep in mind. I want to say we'll see it next year. I think Ubisoft needs wins. They need something, right? Like Black Flag Resync has been pretty good, but you need something else, right? You need an original Assassin's Creed, I think, to kind of win people back.
Yeah.
So I think they need to do it next year, but I really think you've got to be cautious of when GTA 6 comes out and maybe in order to navigate those waters.
It's well done. It's one of those Black Flag as well. Like the funny part about Black Flag is the fact that it's a 13-year-old title getting had a remaster, and it's outselling Shadows.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just But you're right though. Ubisoft needs a win. They need something to kind of tie them over into next year. So many studios work on these games at once. It's mind blowing, right? The size of Ubisoft and the fact that they can't even put out a game until it's years and decades later. You kind of wonder what's going on. So yeah, we'll see. Assassin's Creed Hexy. Very excited, very curious to see what is in store, because we really don't know much besides the leaks. So we'll hopefully find out more soon if it is actually arriving next year. Michael, what do you got?
Well, speaking of a game that we know quite a bit about, because some of us have played a majority of it, that is Halo Campaign Evolved. It's coming out in a couple weeks, and we have gotten our, rough estimate of how long it's going to take. It's different for every single person, obviously, but right now coming in at about 12 hours to beat the entire game, which is only 90 minutes longer, Drew, than the original Halo Combat Evolved, which is obviously what the game is based on, right? It's the exact same campaign with 3 new prequel missions, so that means those missions could be about 20, 30 minutes each. Maybe there's a couple other changes as well. Yeah. But it's just interesting to see, right, that they are sticking almost one-to-one to the original, right? It's a big thing all the time with classics or remasters. How much do we change? How much do we update? And again, it looks like it's going to be about on that pace. I'm a little torn, right, for Halo Studios' first game, right, as Halo Studio. The first game in 5 years for Master Chief, which I'm a big Halo fan, and it's just a 12-hour campaign, which is faster than 007 by I think like about 5 or 6 hours. I think you and I were both in that 18 to 20-hour range. So this is going to be like a quick game. I just don't know if it's going to satiate that like need for Halo that I think myself and a lot of other people have, and I'm kind of worried that it's going to come out and it's just going to be like, that's it? Like, that's all you guys could get us in 5 years? And also apparently canceled the multiplayer project to move developers over to this game for 12 hours, Drew? We'll have to see. Maybe it blows me away, but that was just kind of took the wind out of my my sails, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's... Okay, I've talked about Halo Studios quite...
You have. You're very passionate about them.
I have my opinion, which is funny, which even came up last night as we were gaming. We'll get to that after. But yeah, it's been one of those discussions for me where I think Halo just needs a break. But for them to come back, 12 hours at this point is just so uncommon, unless you're an indie studio. Halo Studios is not an indie studio. They're a massive studio. They are a large AAA level developer. And yeah, now you've gone back to a remake of the original. You can't vary too far off because you're kind of playing with fire if you go too far, right? Like that's the other side of it too, because you're playing with Bungie's original game that kind of put Bungie on the map and then also put Xbox on the map as well. So how do you tamper without pissing off the audience completely? But at the same time, dude, for me at this point where I'm at, right? Because the games are taking so long, 12 hours is nice to jump in as a refresh, get it over, and then be able to bounce into something else. Because everything we played lately is 30, 80 hours. Like, there's a bit of a gap there, but that's just the landscape we're at right now. The smaller titles that I play are indie titles that I'm able to get into. I finished... Nope, not able to talk about that one yet. Never mind. That one was shorter.
Well,
we'll go with that.
I think on your point though, right? Like for an indie title, right? I'm paying $30, right?
Sure.
This is gonna be a full price AAA game. I don't doubt it, right? And that's I think really for me. It's like $70 for a 12-hour campaign. Now, if there was multiplayer or even anything, right? Firefight, something, right? Like it would at least be like, okay, I'm paying for infinite content, right? But you're paying $70 for 12 hours, and I don't know what the replayability is going to be outside of like, oh, I could turn on all the skulls, right? Like,
sure.
Halo. Halo to me falls in that Call of Duty title, right? I don't play it for the story, right? Yes, the story's a little bit better than Call of Duty, but at the end of the day, I want to play the multiplayer, right? So that's, I think, where my big thing. If this came in at like $40-$50 somehow, Drew, I think all right, that makes sense. The problem is, as you said, we're going to get a AAA price for an indie-sized title, and that to me is very concerning. But speaking of Halo Studios, you said you brought it up last night. What were you playing last night, Drew? And I gotta be curious how Halo came up at the topic.
So we've got our usual group playing Siege, and then last night Scott from the team actually was in the party, hanging out with one of our buddies, Nate. You saw Nate's coverage lately actually pop up on the site. He got a preview of Revelations, the Doom the Dark Ages Revelations, so he's able to get in on that. And they are both huge Halo guys. Huge. And so it kind of came up that when the game launches, those two are going to play co-op, right? Because it's a staple of this series. So that's kind of how that came around when we were talking about Siege. And then funny enough, Nate's like, Drew, I kind of know your opinion of the situation. But he says, like, what if we could actually get a good, like, Infinite was good, but it didn't last, right? So that's kind of where we're at. And this is why I keep going back to the fact that they just should let Halo sit. Just let it sit. Go dormant for years. Work on a new IP. But you can't do that when you name yourself Halo Studios. It's freaking stupid. No. But yeah, so I've been Siege is usual nightly event around here. Still sailing the seas in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced.
Nice.
Dude, what a game this year. Like, it's my remake of the year. Like, that's just a hands down. The game is gorgeous. It is fun. The combat is engaging. The combat has the weight. It feels great to play. It feels wonderful to jump back into that world. And I'm doing all the Animus content as well. You can go in and you gather these keys. So I'm building out that. It's almost like a battle pass in a sense. So I'm kind of working on that too. But these challenges come up and you only have so many days. Well, I've wiped them all out, so now I'm just waiting. so I'll wait for those to come back around, get that, and kind of work away on that part of it. But yeah, just kind of plundering here and doing this and doing that, exploring the seas and sending my fleet out, looking to capture more, upgrade my fleet, that kind of stuff. It's been a ton of fun. But the biggest thing lately, since I've been able to wrap up my reviews, which is kind of nice to actually get ahead of the schedule a little bit, right? Before other stuff comes out. There's always something to drop, but at the same time, I'm prepping for one in particular. So I jump into a Plague Tale Innocence, which my wife beat. I did not. I watched her play it. So I was like, okay, the next one is coming out next month. I'm going to go and play these for myself. So right now I'm on chapter 5. And if you follow along over on our Substack, I actually give a recap of my session. So I got part 1 and part 2 done of where I've been kind of at. So when you hit our Substack, our newsletter goes out each and every night. You get it first thing in the morning. It's how that works. And then in there is kind of a breakdown of my experience and my feelings and thoughts of what I just experienced throughout that. And the dynamic between Mitsuya and Hugo are absolutely phenomenal. The brother sister combo in how it all kind of unfolds. I'm gonna spoil this because the game is old now at this point. So just a heads up, if you don't want a Plague Tale, the first game spoiled, then bounce and then come back. But here's how it goes: is that her parents are murdered bright and early, right? So all of a sudden now, the sister, your character, has to then take the role of the motherly figure. But she almost feels this animosity and just this, I don't want to call it hatred, but a bit of a despise of, man, now I got to take care of this younger brother who she's never really associated with because he's always been tucked away with his illness that the mother holds dearly and tries to help him. But now it's all on Mitsuya, I think that's how you pronounce the name. And it's just one of those, dude, the dynamic between the two. The moment, like, she snaps, but then she realizes, oh man, it's not his fault. And then he wants to be a kid because he's so young, but yet he doesn't have those moments because the world's gone to hell. The rats are infesting everything. The Inquisition are trying to hunt Hugo down for his illness. And I'm learning about that in the background. And then everything's kind of really gone to hell. And now I've been introduced to Lucas. And this is where I'm at now. So my 5-hour or chapter 5 experience has set me up with a third character. And it's funny because a lot of games, when they do this duo dynamic, suck. Because all of a sudden now you got somebody tailing around with you, right? It works incredibly well. Asobo has done an excellent job in the fact that not only are you taking care of the story and pushing your character forward, but you're bringing somebody else along with you that doesn't feel like a hindrance. But it's this dynamic between brother and sister, and then the loss of their parents, and then trying to fight for survival. It's been a hell of a journey so far, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting in and finishing it off to see where it goes. That's my biggest thing, so then I can wrap up, get into the sequel, into Requiem, and then from there, get into the third one, which launches at the end of August. So that's what I've been doing. What do you want to play, man?
Well, it's been simple. I've been talking about this game a lot. You've seen it kind of been spammed all over our... there's also just a lot of news on it, and that has been Pal World 1.0 came out last week on Thursday, I want to say. And I've been totally in with some buddies, and we've got our own server. We've just been grinding through tons of changes, right? We talked about 27 pages of patch notes that they had, 70 new pals, bunch of quality of life updates. Because for me, I hadn't played since the start, right? I hopped in at the start, played it I think hundreds of hours at the start, and then I hadn't come back. I hadn't come back for the new updates.
Sure.
So everything that was in those updates was new to me as well. So there's been a ton of content. It's been an absolute blast. I'm really curious to see where they go next. That was always kind of my big internal worry because I love this game so much. I've been having a blast. I think I already have like 20, 30 hours in just over the weekend. It's one of those, like, you log on, and when you're not playing, you're like, dang, okay, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do with my base? What do I want to do with this pal? And now I'm curious, right? That's almost the concern of leaving early access for me, Drew. It's like, they don't have an obligation to us anymore, right? Are they going to keep giving us updates, right? Are we going to get new content, or is it going to be like, all right, we've shipped you guys the game, which it was an amazing game, definitely worth checking it out if you're looking for that survival itch, but what else is next? I know they're kind of going, they're really, by the way, poking Nintendo, right? I just read the other day, they're making their own trading card game. That's coming out soon. I'm like, lawsuit. You guys are really poking Nintendo that this lawsuit has failed, by the way. So curious to see what Pocket Pair has, but yeah, this game's been an absolute blast. Been playing it over the weekend. Ton of fun. It's one of the few survival games that just really scratched that itch for me, Drew. And like I said, I can't wait to see. Maybe it might even be one of those where after we beat this server, maybe we go back. I think we did like boosted XP because we're like, yeah, it's a little, some of the wait time's a little egregious, but maybe we'll have to go back. Like, all right, guys, we're doing full true 1x experience. We're gonna make this really, really last. But man, it's been such a good game. When I first played it, I was like, there's no way this game survives, and you know, it's nice that it did make it to 1.0 despite Nintendo's best efforts.
Well, you look at Pearl Abyss with Crimson Desert, right? And they just, dude, it's one update after another for that studio, and they just keep plugging away. So hopefully Pocket Pair will do something similar. And being a survival game, like, man, that's just a live service waiting to kind of capture everybody, right? So they could be ranking in the dough for years to come if they're able to provide solid content. Where I take a look at Winrose, I jumped into early access, got in there to play Winrose, had fun, but now they're like, okay, you're not getting any more content for 6 months. Some people are like, hey, I'll wait 6 months. Other people are like, screw this, I'm out of here. And so it's a fine balance, right? If now you're in 1.0, how do you keep that going and moving forward? No Rest for the Wicked from Moon Studios is another one of those that I'm waiting for. Do I jump back into early access? Nah, I don't think so. Am I going to wait for 1.0 and jump in? Absolutely. Because there have been a lot of changes, and it sounds like Pal World's the same thing. And I don't doubt Moon Studios have a lot of plans moving forward, because they said like this is going to be one of their forever games. So I'm excited to keep up with that, keep up with the content, and keep grinding that game out and the story itself. Is there much of a story, though, when it comes to Pal World, or is it just go out, survive, and capture these pals?
They've added a bit of a story. There was always sort of a story of like, hey, there's these bosses, go here, beat them. Sure. 1.0 definitely, you know, I'll be honest, I'm not a story guy. Like, skip. But there is lore, right? There is like lore about the story. You know, there are, you know, couple paragraphs per character. Like, I kind of like, you know, while skipping kind of got it. So there's like a very mini story, and it just does a really good job of pushing you. Like, okay, now you go to this biome. All right, now they want to go over to this biome, right? Like, it does a really good job of kind of pushing you to different biomes where you're like, my base is here. I'm in just the forest biome. I'm going to stay here. But they're like, hey, go to the desert biome. Go check it out. Go to this village up in the sky. Go check them out. And there's all different pals. So I think they did a really good job of like forcing you to kind of explore. You run into pals, and then I think the story kind of culminated. It was kind of fun, and they have like I don't want to say New Game Plus, but there's like a hard mode of the story that you can try where you basically go back. And I tried the first one because I beat the story. I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. First one kicked my ass. So hard mode was no joke. Hard mode was like, all right, you better lock in. Your pals better be fully trained up and ready to go. You can't just go in here with whatever you want. So I was like, okay, like, you know, they kind of gave a New Game Plus. But there's a nice little story, like 5-6 hours at most, which, again, it's the side effect, right? It's not like Halo where that's all I can play, right? You can ignore the whole. I have my friends who haven't even touched the story, and they're having a fantastic time just building the most massive base I've ever seen. And I'm like, that's not for me, but I'm glad you guys are having fun.
That was Dune Awakening for me. So my brother would be off doing all the questing and stuff, and I'm just like, "Are you gonna come help?" I said, "No, man, I'm building another base."
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, "Hey, you guys want to help me with this bot?" No, man, I've got this pal, and I need to breed it with this pal because we can get this one who's like 50% faster at working. And I was like, so it'll talk to me like 5 hours when I produce like 100 pals, and I'll have the perfect one. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Heck yeah, sure, man. I'll just take the good one and I'll peace out to go beat the story.
Yeah, it was funny. That was cool. Yeah, sometimes these games can really hook you into this survival-esque kind of feel, right? So, yeah. Good. Well, good for Pocket Pair. We'll see what happens when they keep it, if they can keep it going. But dude, when you take a look at something like No Man's Sky, like they still pump out content on a regular basis. I'm curious, like, Light No Fire, dude. When is Light No Fire coming? That's for another show, though, Michael. We will get into that topic maybe next week. But why don't you kick it off? This is your topic. This is your idea, and I thought it was a fantastic one. Why don't you explain what we're talking about today?
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, Halo falls into this, right? Same with Black Flag Resync, and it's just something I've been talking about for a while, especially if you and I, it fits perfectly. We've been growing up. We've been gaming for a while. When your favorite franchise releases a new game, right? I know for you and I, were talking about Assassin's Creed for you right before the show came out. I'm a big World of Warcraft guy. They've already kind of done this. Do you want them to release a remaster of your favorite title, the best title? I think the best title is usually like the go-to, but I think that usually aligns. Or do you want them to release a brand new game, right? And the question I pose to you, right, for Assassin's Creed, we know Hexy is coming, but after Hexy, I asked you, do you want a brand new Assassin's Creed, or do you want Assassin's Creed 2 Resync, right? And I think that's something for a lot of my friends where we're in our 30s, we've been gaming for a decade or so, we miss, it's like, man, Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2, you know, what you pick your favorite game, Fallout 3, and you're kind of like, do I want like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas remastered, or do I want the next Fallout, right? And I think that's kind of what I wanted to bring to the table, Drew, is, you know, we can debate is like, do you want these companies to say, all right, you guys are right, we're going to remaster our greatest hits, or do you want them to keep innovating? And maybe they make a new greatest hit, right? Which is always possible, but then there's always, you know, I'll take it from my personal experience, right? There's always a chance they make Black Ops 7, which is one of the worst Call of Duties in history, and the first one I haven't played in 2 decades. And I'm like, damn, you could have just remastered Black Ops 1, which they just did last month. So that is the topic of the show today, Drew. So I'll let you give it your thoughts first. Do you want your company, you know, I gave you the Assassin's Creed, but whatever franchise you want to go with, what would you rather have them do?
So there's two sides to this where, like, the more I had a little bit more time to kind of cook and bake on the idea, and it just kind of sprung to me because there's going back into Resynced or Black Flag Resynced and how good it is and how much fun I've had and I'm still having because I keep coming back to play more, right? And then talking to Scott, he just picked it up himself. He's about to jump in and he can't freaking wait. I'm not normally a player who goes back to older games.
Yeah.
So because they're able to make it for the ground up, it doesn't feel like it did way back in 2013, right? So now we're into a fresh experience. I wouldn't call it a new experience because it's not new. We played this game before. I beat it all the way back then, and then I did it again, right? Not something I'm known to do, but it is that good. Now, when it comes to Assassin's Creed, yes, we are getting Hexy, so there is going to be a new one. But man, you know what? I'd really love a remake of the first one. I want to bring Altair back into the fold.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people missed out on his experience. There are a lot of repetitive features when it comes to the first Assassin's Creed that a lot of people kind of focused on and kind of gave a crap, and rightfully so. Like, man, you can only sit and listen to eavesdrop on people for so long and then have that repetitiveness hit you, right? So, but and then I take a look at one of my favorite games of all time, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Dude, I never picked up the new one. I never picked up Delta. And I was more nervous to go back to Delta to then taint the fact that it is my favorite game of all time, right? Don't mess with it, what isn't broken. So now I'm on two sides of, what do I do? Do I want, right? It's like, where do you put yourself? Because I do love Black Flag Resynced so much that I went back and I dove in hard, that I'm still enjoying it so much that I could then almost get the craving for past experiences when it comes to Assassin's Creed, but yet I don't want to do that when it comes to Metal Gear Solid. It's such a weird dynamic because I think if you like remakes, you're gonna like that they're doing these. Does Ubisoft continue down this path is the other question for me now at this point, because Black Flag Resynced is done so well. And it's funny because Scott and I think I got in this conversation as well. He goes, do you think they do go down the path of remakes? I said, absolutely they do. Absolutely, I feel Ubisoft will now follow suit and will continue down this remake, whether or not it's Altair's story or more of the more beloved Ezio trilogy is really where I think they might pick it back up. But it's if you're that close and going to 2, why not just start at 1, right? And then let people relive that. Because, dude, I would go back to 1 in a second. That's where Assassin's Creed started for most of us, especially the older generation like me. Dude, there was that moment when I had my very first leap of faith. You'll never forget it. Like, it was just one of those iconic moments in my gaming library, in my gaming history, that what a sensation to climb all the way up to the top, look across the vista, and then just dive into a pile of hay at the bottom. Right?
I remember my buddies and I, we had like a huge LAN party and we were watching some guy play Assassin's Creed. He did that for the first time. And we're just like, oh shit, like that was awesome. Like, go find another one, right? Like, go do it again. You're totally right. And I'm with you. It's such a hard thing because if you look at it just as like from a big perspective, it's like I kind of feel bad. Like I don't want to say, hey, developers, like you guys aren't having good ideas, because I know they are, but it's like I just sit there, and for a game like Halo, right? I understand Campaign Evolved is going to be a remaster, but for the next Halo, right? Hopefully a real multiplayer Halo. I sit there and I'm like, do I really trust you guys to make a good Halo? No, just take Halo 3. Right. Just grab Halo 3 and just boop, we've upscaled it. You know, it's one of those where I'm just like, man. But you know, as we talk about all the time, sometimes nostalgia, you know, it just hits a little differently, right? And it can be tough to kind of be like, okay, like, was I just nostalgia? Was it really like I've had this? There's a big debate. I play World of Warcraft. We've talked about it a lot on the show. Yeah. And there's a big debate in the community because they've remastered it. They've done WoW Classic, and some people are like, man, this just doesn't hit like it was in 2005. And a lot of people are like, yeah, you're not 12 anymore. You don't just come home from school and play WoW for 6 hours. You have to go to work. You have to make dinner, right? And so it is tough sitting there being like, man, just remaster Halo 3. Easy money. And then be like, man, maybe this was just fun because I was in high school and all of my buddies were playing, and this game actually isn't very good. But at the same time, especially for Call of Duty, it's like, Black Ops 7 sucked. Like, I don't trust you guys to make a good one. Just remaster it. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of on the fence. I think I would lean for my franchises of choice, stuff like Call of Duty, stuff like Halo. I would almost just rather lean to just make a remaster. Just like prove me wrong almost. Like, making me realize my nostalgia wasn't there. Because it's just like these recent titles. Infinity was okay, but it didn't really hit for me the way I was hoping, right?
Sure.
Campaign Evolved isn't going to hit for me. Again, I've said it a time. I'm not a campaign guy. I want to play the multiplayer, right? Black Ops 7 didn't hit. I wish I could tell you I was playing the ports, but for some reason they decided to only release the ports on PlayStation, which still doesn't make any sense to me as an Xbox company. But I think I fully got over to the remaster side, Drew. I'm just like, I want you to just remaster the greatest hits. I just don't know if these new games are going to suck me in as much as I want them to, and it'll push me away from the franchise. Gears will be a good test, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, Drew.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Gears E-Day will be good, right? It's like, if Gears E-Day is good, maybe I change my mind, but if it doesn't hit like the first and second Gears do, which kind of that was also, a defining moment. Maybe I was playing that game a little too young, but right, you walk up to a guy, rip out your chainsaw, cut him in half, and you're like, damn, I want to do that again, right? So maybe Gears will be a good test. But for right now, Drew, I am totally on the side of like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure you have some great original ideas cooking up in there, but go find what the old developers did and figure out how to port it back onto the new consoles, because it just hit differently than it does now.
Yeah, it's a funny dynamic. I think it's more of a game by game basis as well, right? So
yeah, that's fair.
People are probably hearing Discord go off. It's because Scott is now talking about Resync because he's now playing Black Flag. Go away, Scott. We're busy. But it is back in the day when I played Metal Gear Solid 3 for the first time, dude, it was an iconic moment. Yep. I'm never going to be able to relive that moment again. That's the biggest struggle, right? I relived that. I lived it once. And it's like watching a movie. Watching the movie once for the first time, you're going to get wowed at moments. You're going to maybe cry at moments. You're going to laugh at moments, whatever. And then you watch it again. Yeah, it can be just as good, but you know what's coming. And then that's kind of where this whole remake, remaster kind of thing lines up. Is where I'd rather almost go in the new direction, where I'm thinking I'm on the opposite side of you now, Michael. I'd rather go new because I want to experience something fresh. I want to have a new story, right? I want to know. I don't want to go in and know already what's going to happen, because as much as I've been boosted in how much I love playing Black Flag Resynced, I know the story beats. I know how the game ends. So I'm not like about to get to the ending and go, man, I didn't see that coming. Like, shit, I saw that coming from 13 years ago when I played it, right? Like, that's... Yeah. So we're just at a different time. And it is when you are at an age where, like you say, dude, maybe we're in high school when we played that. And then you're all hanging with your buddies. GoldenEye is a prime example for me. All of us sitting around, hanging out. 4-player split screen, shooting everybody, screen cheating, right? Because you're screen peeking on that person, and like, I know where you are, bang, gotcha. And you're howling. To go back and play that again, I do not want to do that, ever, right? It'd be horrible. So, it's funny, when you look at a multiplayer side of it versus a campaign side, I think there's that dynamic to kind of take into consideration as well. Black Flag, and this is where Scott kind of had his point, was Assassin's Creed Black Flag was a one-off, right? It doesn't really fit the usual Assassin's Creed mold. So that's kind of where that falls in, and maybe why they test the waters first with Ubisoft going into Black Flag. Because when you get into Ezio's trilogy, dude, you can't do just AC2 without doing Brotherhood and Revelations. Like that, you need that trilogy to wrap up for the new modern age. So how do you then have my kids come in, play Assassin's Creed 2 Resynced, we'll call it, and then I play it as well, but for them, they're like, okay, cool, that was fun, I'm out, but I'm going, where the hell's Brotherhood now? Because that's what follows next, right? And then you see, but you know what's coming. You know the iterations. Like when Brotherhood dropped, and all of a sudden you can call in all your assassins, and they just leap out of nowhere, just drop on everybody. Holy shit, was that freaking cool. But I now know it's going to happen. So But again, I'm still reliving Black Flag and freaking loving every minute of it, and I just want to go play some more of that too. So, yeah, man, it's really tough to say at the end of the day, but for me, I think I'm kind of leaning on the newer side of stuff because I have some faith in Ubisoft, to say the least.
This is really where this topic came from me, right? It's just because my faith has been let down, right? I mean,
sure.
Another like Fallout, right? I guess that's more of a story-driven franchise, right? Love Fallout New Vegas, had an absolute blast with it, and then like Fallout 76 came out, right? Hated it, right? I'm like, this is not for me, and I'm like, almost like, okay, I don't want you guys to do Fallout 5, and there maybe are rumors that we actually are getting a Fallout New Vegas remaster, right? And Fallout's a little odd because New Vegas made by a different company, right? But again, I think it really comes down to it's like I've just been let down so many times recently, right? Probably the last 4 or 5 years by these franchises where I'm like, I was so pumped for this game, and it's not as good as the one I wanted to play, right? Like I'm like, I have these great memories from Fallout New Vegas. I hop in Fallout 76. I'm like, this is like almost a bastardization of the Fallout franchise, right? And so to me, that's where I keep going. I'm like, man, just like, what if we just go remaster, right? Like, what if you just try it, right? What if you just try it? See if it'll work, because we've seen so many remasters, right? It just, to me, every single time through, I'm like, I just don't trust you guys to make new games. I think the other problem is that I've also sort of noticed with some of the classic games I have played, right, is it's very easy, and this is where I almost go maybe to your side a little, it's very easy when you do a remaster. It's like, all right, we took 1-to-1, we're done, right? We're not going to do anything else. We're not going to do any more updates. We're not going to try and help out with any of the quality of life stuff. Like, that's all we want. We're going to put our devs back on the newest game, right? And that's where I'm like, damn, maybe I want, like, remastered, but, like, almost like the Halo thing, right? Halo's an interesting one. We're talking about Campaign Evolved. Yes, we're getting Combat Evolved, but there's 3 new missions, right? So it's like you kind of get some of that new with the remastered, right? But, man, I just feel like every time a new game comes out, like the next Fallout, right? Far Cry 7, we were going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that next week, but it's like if Far Cry 7 comes out and it doesn't hit again, which 6 didn't hit for me as much as I'd wanted, it's like,
it didn't for anybody though. That's the problem, right?
And so it's like, do you just say like go remaster 3 or 4? You know,
3 is so good.
Whichever. Yeah, 3 is fantastic. I was like, I want to make a 3 was the one for me, but I was like, I don't know, maybe it's 4.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no.
Do I just say go do Far Cry 3 remastered over Far Cry 8, or do I just keep saying like, all right, you guys will fix it this time, right? And that's where I keep falling into this trap of like, these new games, they just disappoint me, Drew. Like I'm just like, just remaster it, man. Just remaster the hits, and I'll be there.
So, like, Halo's an interesting one, right? And the way they launched Infinite was the issue. They launched multiplayer first, then the campaign, and then Forge came out. It was like they piecemealed the hell out of it and ruined the experience. If that bundle came together and then dropped, I think we'd be talking about this in a different light. But because it was like piece here, a piece there, and a piece here, it's like, man, what did you guys do to the game? I understand you want to get the multiplayer out because that's where a lot of people came back in and they're like, man, this feels like Halo 2, and this feels like this multiplayer. And it's just hitting that nostalgia hook. But then it just died off.
Yeah.
Right? So then they introduce a battle pass. That pisses people off. And then they do this. That pisses people off. It's just like, what is happening here? So there is that fear of crap. But now let's take a look at this for what about Fable? Next year, it's a completely brand new team, right? Lionhead, long gone. They are done. And Peter Molyneux is doing his own thing right now and doing his own whatever games. So he's doing some, actually, I think it's called Albion. And he's making, it's a God game again, man. Like, I don't know if anybody played Black and White back in the day. There's a shout out. But it's you're just a hand and you're freaking, yeah, you're a God. So that he's gone back to that formula. But anyways, getting back to my point of Fable. Fable from Playground Games, not known at all for making a third-person story-driven game. They're known for their racing series with Forza Horizon, right? Like, and those hit hard, and they are fantastic. So the love, though, from the team, they split off and branched out, is to bring and reboot Fable. When you talk about Xbox, you talk about Gears, Halo, and Fable. Right? And right now, Fable is looking fantastic. From everything I've seen personally, damn, it is one of my most anticipated titles of 2027. Halo, I don't have faith in whatsoever. And Gears, I'm just kind of caught in the middle, right? They came out with Gears Reloaded. This is a remaster of the old games.
Yeah.
Dude, it didn't hit. It didn't stick with anybody. So that, okay, now we're going to get Gears E-Day, which is a prequel to everything. Is this going to be what sets it on fire to bring Gears back? Or is everybody like, all right, cool, I had fun, I played 20 hours of the campaign, and I bounced? Like, it's such a weird dynamic of new, but still bringing back the old feeling. But it hits with some, but because there's another generation, and this is what I keep talking about Halo, is that there's another generation of gamers that Xbox and Microsoft need to hone in on, because I'm only getting older, and I'm experiencing other games that I want to play, and Halo isn't one of those games, right? So you need to then figure out, how are you going to capture my kids to play Halo? Can you do that? Will they want to play Gears? Do they even give a shit about Fable? I'm telling you right now, they don't. I know they don't. Yeah. They don't give a flying fuck about Master Chief. Nobody cares. So it's one of those moments of, who you catering to then, right? So when you talk about this remaster versus new, you know what the better option is to go with the new, because you're going to probably capture my kid more on the new than you are on the old. It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think the counter to that, and again, I don't have kids, so I can't counter it as well, would be, if you are going to buy because it has Master Chief, right? Like, I remember Master Chief, I'm going to buy. Maybe it's easier for your kid to get exposed, or if they do a new Halo that you don't care about, maybe your kid's like, I don't care about. But again, I think you're right. I think there is this worry of, like, if you remaster Halo 3, if you remaster Modern Warfare 2, if you remaster Far Cry 3, you're going to get people like us, which is great. But you and I were probably going to buy Far Cry 7, the next Halo, the next Call of Duty, regardless, because we love those franchises. The next Assassin's Creed for you, right? We're going to buy it no matter who's on the cover. How do you get in those new people, right? And I think that is a good point of, like, is nostalgia, it's not going to work on them because they probably weren't even born when it was out. But it's like, do you get the cheap kind of like, oh, everybody's pumped that Master Chief's coming back, and these kids are like, oh, I got to check it out because my dad's talking about Master Chief, and my friend's dad's talking about Master Chief. Versus, like, that's like an old game. It's like a boomer game, right? Like, I don't want to play that. I want to play the next one, right? So I think, you bring up a good point of how do you get these people in, and I don't know what the right answer is, because again, for me personally, I'm like, yeah, remasters make sense, and then the more I think about it, I'm like, one, it's kind of insult to the game company, because it's like, yeah, all your new ideas suck. Like, I don't trust you to make good new ideas, and I think you bring up a good point. How do you get the new generation in? Dude. Make a good game, I guess, is the simple answer, right? Like, if Halo 3 is remastered, is released, and it's a really, really good title, everyone will play it, right? But I doubt they're going to do that, because the easiest way is just port it in 1-to-1, ship it, get the old heads in, and call it a day, and move on to the next title.
Yeah, it's so going back to my GoldenEye experience, right? So when Rare Replay finally brought in GoldenEye, it was a huge moment for us older generation to jump in and go, man, I could play this again. So here's me, my wife, who have played GoldenEye back in the day, 4-player split screen, and then my son and a buddy of his. We wrapped up and went, okay, that was cool. My son goes, that was horrible. Now, granted, this isn't, right, but this is a timepiece that hasn't been made from the ground up to be the Black Flag resync that we're experiencing today. This is just a port over of the old generation. So there's a balanced line in there as well. But it's one of those moments, like, my kid will never play GoldenEye. And for me, it was a timepiece back in my high school days of going, we all got together to play this, and it was freaking awesome. But do I want to play it again? No, I really don't. And some people want to play old games, and they love old games. And there's nothing wrong with that, to live in that world and focus in and play all those and have those memories and relive those moments. But for me, I find them harder to relive because I've already lived them once, and I don't want to go back to relive them again most times, right? There is the odd time. Dude, one game. Sorry, I should say actually one franchise I do often go back to is Splinter Cell. I go back to Splinter Cell because why? Because Ubisoft hasn't made a new one in fucking years. So the only Splinter Cell
soon TM, Drew. Soon.
We'll
Project
see.
over soon. Very soon. 3+ years.
Oh man. So we'll see, right? Splinter Cell again. Here's another one getting your remaster, which for me, it could be just like my Black Flag Resynced experience. Because guess who's going to get this day one? Me, because I've been dying for years for a new one. Blacklist was the last Splinter Cell game we had in 2013. You remaster the first one? Holy shit, am I going to be all over this game. So, right? Again, for me, it's a game-by-game basis. So, here's where, can they hook the new generation in? Say, hey, Sam Fisher is the ultimate stealth killer. You need to play this. I'll be talking about it, whether it's good or bad. I'll give my honest opinion like I always do. But it's one of those, man, if they hit this, Michael, if they hit this, my God, dude, it could be, again, my remake of the year, right? Because I just have so many fond memories of where it started. Dude, the scissor kick in the hallway, you drop on the guy, boom, he's fucking gone. I'm like, that was such, again, one of those moments that you live once. And then you try to live it again when it comes into Pandora tomorrow, and then the future games come on and on. Conviction is in there. Like, there's so many. Double Agent was one of the weakest ones. I didn't really care for that one. We don't need to talk about that one. But Conviction, I loved. A lot of people didn't. That one's kind of a divisive one in the series. But we go back and play Splinter Cell games still to this day. My brother and I will go back and play co-op. Because why? Because we don't have another game like that ever. There is not a game out there right now that matches Splinter Cell. There isn't. So what do? I go back to play it because that's the only way I can get that stealth rush in that genre. So for them to go back, once again, Ubisoft, right? Go back, remake this from the ground up, starting with one. There's no co-op in there. Man, you bring me Spies versus Mercs again? Holy shit, Michael. I'm living my childhood again, dude, and it could be fantastic, or it could be absolute crap, and we could be into whatever Halo comes out this year, and we'll see if Campaign Evolved hooks people, or they're like, man, I didn't really need to play that.
Yeah, I think realistically, and Gears is a little bit of a push, because as you said, they are bringing back the original team. But I really think, and Gears also has multiplayer, but just on the surface level, Halo versus Gears is going to be a very interesting real-life example of this debate, right? Halo is essentially going for the remaster. Gears is going for the new, right? And realistically, one of those franchises will probably survive, and I can see the other one, as you said, maybe kind of
which one
dying off.
You pick one. If you pick one, what do you think does better this year? Halo Campaign Evolved or Gears E-Day?
I think it'll be Gears.
I'm right there with
you. I think it'll be Gears because I think Gears has a better story than Halo. And Halo, we're not getting multiplayer, right? But the Gears story is so good that I think it's going to hook people in, even if they don't want to play the multiplayer. I just don't think the Halo story... Again, it's one of those just like GoldenEye, right? Like back in the day, like I was like watching the trailer for Halo Campaign Evolved when I was writing an article, and there's like comments are like, did Halo blow your mind when you saw this for the first time? And everyone's like, yeah, it did. It was so crazy. And it's like, it's not going to blow your mind this time when you see all this, right? And so, yeah, I think Gears is going to do best, but it's going to be a really interesting test of like, okay, if we have two iconic franchises, neither of which have done crap in the last, really in this in the 2020s, neither of them have done anything. Infinite was, terrible. Which one is going to survive, the remaster or the new? And I really think Gears will probably win out. I would argue, because I'm more team remaster here. I think Halo picked a terrible game to remaster because Combat Evolved was too early for me, right? I didn't get into gaming until Halo 3. I literally got into Xbox because all my friends had a Halo 3, and I begged my parents. I was like, please, I need an Xbox. I need Halo 3. I want to play with my buddies. I don't want to be left out. I don't want to be the guy just sitting there at the parties like, yeah, let me borrow the controller I've never played before, right? So, like, that was why I got into gaming. So, Combat Evolved's a little too early even for me. But, yeah, I really think, even though I'm team remaster, I think in the real-life example, I think the new game's going to win out, Drew. It's a bummer to say, but I think you made a great point, and I've really been struggling internally of, yes, remasters are going to sell to you and I, but you and I are going to buy anyway. Do remasters sell to the kids? And I don't know if they do. I really don't know if they do. I think the easiest one is a great game will sell. A great remaster will sell, but a great new game will sell as well. and so it is tough. But man, just remaster Halo 3, man. Just do it. Just remaster Halo 3. That's all we need, man.
Well, it's funny because when we talk about Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, it's outselling Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was the newer one, right? So
that is true.
Like it is literally a series by series basis. I think is kind of how you have to approach it.
Yeah.
Where does Ubisoft go next? Right now, obviously, we know Splinter Cell's getting remade, but do they go back into the well of Assassin's Creed titles, because there's like 1,000 of them, and start? Do they start where it started, or do they start where the reboot started and go to Origins? Right, and Origins is one of my favorite games within the series. I loved Origins, not for everybody, I think, but at the same time, I think it was a fantastic game, and it brought back a lot of that feeling that Assassin's Creed started with when it came to the game in the series, right? So, man, I don't... If you... Obviously, I'm a much bigger Assassin's Creed fan than you are. Yes. But if you had to remake one in the series, is there one you would go to?
So I'm actually going to cheat a little bit on this, because I was thinking about this, right? Because we hadn't even brought this up, but neither you and I are big Final Fantasy guys, right?
Yeah,
Final Fantasy has done this, right, with the 7 remake, and they turned it into a trilogy. Yeah. And I was going to say, I think Assassin's Creed is maybe one of the only other franchises that could do that, right? And I would say just remaster, and you brought this up, so I'm stealing your idea. Remaster the first trilogy, right? 1, 2, and 3. I think Assassin's Creed could pull that off, and I think that's what I would want to see if I want to remaster, because I missed out on 1, right? Like, I watched it through other people, and then I hopped in on 2, and I hopped in on 3, but it was so long ago, and unlike you, I haven't really played many Assassin's Creeds, right? Since then. I think the last one I played was the original Black Flag, and then I just kind of, my buddies didn't play it, so I didn't have anyone to talk to anymore about it, and I kind of slowly moved away. So yeah, I really think if Assassin's Creed, unless Hexy blows me away, I would love for them to say, all right, we're remastering 1, 2, and 3. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe a 1-year cycle for each one of them. I think Ubisoft is one of the few franchises that could pull off a remaster trilogy and actually bring people back in.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go next. But yeah, I don't know. That's what a topic, Michael. Dude, hats off. That was. I think that is one of the coolest topics I've ever had the pleasure of discussing. Yeah, because there's a lot to dive into, and we could still be going on this one. I think
I've got another one cooking as well, right? Because we do our Theory Unlocked article every Wednesday. I've got this one this week. I'm going to expand on this topic a little more. And then 2 weeks from now, when it's my turn again, I got another one cooking up, Drew. I got another one in this sort of vein about remasters that I'm gonna cook up. So turn it into a little bit of a mini series here when it's my turn to do our Theory Unlocked. But as we always do, Drew, we took it the new because we got to spotlight the indie titles that are coming out. Right? There's always a banger. What do you got for us?
So this one caught my eye. It kind of came out of nowhere, and I instantly had. Let's go back to go back to Ubisoft. And it is Watch Dogs vibes, but it's not Watch Dogs. Ooh. It's called Blackwood. Ooh. So it just had this presence of Aiden Pierce standing there in like a street and looking up at him, and I'm like, dude, what is this? And this, you play as Anton, who is a DVD store owner by day, turned contract killer by night. And I was what is happening? This takes place in 2012 New York. And yeah, it's got this like John Wick vibe with Max Payne blended in. Dude, it caught my eye. I suggest you go check it out. They have a Steam page. I was over there looking at the trailer, looking at the screenshots. Yeah, it was one of those kind of just like, wait a second. I was just scrolling through X, and next thing you know, this came up. I was like, man, they caught me. Dude, you have to hook people with a good screenshot, a nice image, or whatever, right? Because that's what's going to pull them in before the text does. And that shot resembled Aiden from Watch Dogs. And I was like, all right, you got me. What is this? Not Watch Dogs whatsoever. But the fact that he's a DVD store owner by day and then contract killer by night, I'm like, okay, what are we getting into here? So yeah, there's moral choices to make. There's a haunting past, and you're going into the criminal underworld. I'm like, this sounds sick. So I hope they can pull it off. It's supposed to launch in Q3 2026. I haven't seen much on it though. Like, that's the other side. Like, this is all I've really literally seen. So I'll be keeping an eye on it. I'm gonna try to get a hold of the company and see what's going on and see if we can maybe get a little bit more info on it. And see if we get our hands on the game as well. But yeah, take a look at this one. Small team, but at the same time, it looked pretty cool to me. What do you have?
Similar to you, I've got a game. Didn't see this one on X, but it's all over the place now. I put an article up yesterday, and while I was looking for the article, you type this in. Everybody's covering. Everybody's trying to find the next friend slot, but my buddy sent this to me. It is called Dear Passengers.
I saw this.
And it spoke to me. Really what you said is exactly what happened. I opened up the Steam page, the preview trailer starts playing, and I was hooked the first 10 seconds in. It looks like an absolute blast. It's very simple. You and your buddies, you're flying a commercial airliner, and you've got to get from point A to point B. One person's the pilot, the rest of them are the flight crew, and you've just got to deal with a whole bunch of shenanigans, right? There's a giant goose storm that happens. The plane can blow apart. Passengers are flying out. You've got to repair the plane. Somebody's got to go out on the wing and just break the ice that's on the wing so you don't crash. It just looks like absolute peak friend slop. It kind of fits. It has that sort of. They're starting to look the same. I'm noticing, right? Has to be whatever texture pack all these indie devs get their hands on, because it looks like Peak. It looks like Gamble with Your Friends. All these other games I played, and that's okay with me, right? It kind of in the title, like I watch it, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I'm getting from this game. It looks just so good. I cannot wait. It's just gonna be so RV There Yet. It literally looks like RV There Yet, but we're in a plane. It was the first thought I got. I cannot wait. Not much info on it right now on Steam, just that it's supposed to release in 2026. So I'm hoping we get more, because the first trailer, man, I watched the first 2 minutes, and every time I was like, oh, I can't wait to do that with my friends. Oh, that's going to be absolutely hilarious. Oh, man, we're going to go absolutely bananas with this. So I just cannot wait. I think this is going to be your next friend slop peak game, right? Mecha Chameleon was the previous one.
Yeah.
I think this is the next one, Drew. So if you're a friend slop guy, go on Steam, wish list it now. I cannot wait to play this game. So hyped for it.
That's very cool. I saw you put up the article. I was like, "Oh, this is such a Michael game."
My buddy sent it to me. Again, we have a whole Discord. We have literally a channel called Friend Slop Friday. We just send each other shit. And somebody posted that, and everyone immediately, the reactions are going crazy. We're just like, yes, like wishlisted. This is gonna be sick. Even a couple buddy of mine who are like, "Yeah, Friend Slop's not for me." They're like, "I'll play this game. This looks funny." So
cool.
I'm hoping it comes out before GTA, right? Because there's no release date. I'm like, come on, like, do this before November, please. I'm begging you.
So it was funny. Last night we're playing Siege, and dude, like, we have thousands of hours in Siege now at this point. So Nate's like, man, we got to find another 5-person player game, because you go in squads of 5 and you roll out, right?
Yeah.
But I said to him, dude, in a couple months, it ain't gonna fucking matter, because everyone's gonna be playing GTA 6 anyways. He's like, yeah, that's fair. that's the reality of it, right? Yeah. Watch out for GTA 6, because everybody's jumping ship. It doesn't matter what's coming out, what's around the corner. Yep. It's not going to matter. So, yeah. GTA 6 is coming. That's all everybody's going to care about. That's all everybody's prepping for. The bigger question now is, when's GTA Online 2 coming out? We'll see. It's a discussion for another show. Another show, Michael. Yeah. But until then, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Help us out. Hit that sub button. Hit that like button. Share. All that good stuff. It helps our small team grow even more, so we can stick around and do this just for you. And, of course, for us, because who doesn't like talking about games? But until next week, this has been Theory Unlocked. I'm Drew. That's Michael. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.